Hey guys, I'm in Barbican on a windy afternoon here in Londra, Londinium. Give you a little bit of it's all going up over here, lots of building work, lots of incredible new buildings going up. I don't know if you can see in the distance there, but there's the Gherkin and other City of London buildings. I wanted to talk today about whether your smartphone is controlling you without you realizing it. Is your smartphone training you? What do I mean by is your smartphone training you? So I've realized over many years now of using my smartphone how it is exerting quite a profound influence over my life, over the decisions I make, over the focus that I'm able to bring to my work and my world. And I have, through this awareness that I've developed around the phone, trying to think outside the box as often as I can and try to really see things objectively, I've been getting better at managing my own work. But I know for a fact that my productivity and my focus definitely has been influenced for the worst, if that's a phrase, through what my phone is doing to me. So, for example, we get into these kind of modes of behavior that are based on habits that come out of various activities. So our phones, because we're on them more and more, they're effectively, through all this attention that we're giving those phones, training us in subtle ways. So when you've got multiple windows open, for example, and you're switching between one app to the next, and you're always looking for that new message, that new update, that new hit of dopamine, and the little red box that says new message, it's very satisfying to keep those boxes spinning and to keep jumping from task to task and to feel that sense of pseudo control that isn't really control. It's actually your phone, for the most part, controlling you. And it will affect the way you do things in the real world. That's where it gets really dangerous, because obviously phones are useful as tools, in a purely neutral and objective point of view. From a neutral point of view, a phone is a fantastic tool if used in a way that serves you. But be careful in how it is training you in a certain way. So when it trains you to be the kind of person who's always jumping from one type of task to the next, guess what happens in the real world? You'll start doing that more and more, and you'll start thinking that's the normal, that's your norm. And I've gotten into this trap. So I found myself jumping from writing an email to doing a podcast, coming back to an email, to jumping into an article, to drawing a picture, all within 20 minutes of my time. And of course my brain and my mind and my lack of focus around all of that jumping manifests itself in poor productivity and poor output. Like my attention is just not deep and pure and thorough enough in all that multitasking. It just doesn't lead to very good output, very good work. And the other thing I noticed about phones is that when you're constantly looking for that message, you're constantly looking for that ding, that notification, that little nudge that a third party is giving you in the form of some kind of a satisfying ping or a new message, or basically it's a source of validation. It's a sense of, oh look, somebody cares about me. In this lonely, anonymous world that we live in, somebody, even if it's a mechanical object, is paying attention to me, and that's very satisfying. It's a very human thing to be very, very switched on to that need and that thing in our lives of being notified of things and being cared for. So we are trained through our phones to be aware of the fact that we are very well. We're getting a lot of notifications, basically. We're getting lots of likes and validations and messages, many of them amplified through technology, falsely, And what it does is it trains us to be always aware of those notifications, because what those notifications bring us pleasure. That's the key thing. And we want more of that. And we're trained to want more of it and look for it and seek it out like a shark seeks out blood. And when we walk through the streets like this, or we sit in a library, or we sit at work and somebody comes in the door, we put our heads up, we look up, because our brains have been trained to look up to things and to seek notifications and to seek those little alerts. And it keeps us extremely scattered. You notice that? Phones are training us to be very, very scattered and very, very adept at splitting our time between many, many things. And what does that do? It takes us away from deep work. It takes us away from creativity. It creates us away from the depth that creativity requires of us, and the deep focus that is required of us to do good work. The best kind of projects, the best work, the highest quality stuff, which is in massive demand. Sorry about all this noise. High quality work, which is in huge demand, is reliant on us being focused and being with something for longer than 10 seconds at a time. So be aware of how your phone is controlling you, and be aware of how it's very, very cleverly training you to be a certain way and to act a certain way. So you're going to have to be vigilant, and you're also going to have to go against that flow, i.e. put the phone down here and there. Don't have the phone in view when you're doing work. Meditate. Be more conscious about doing one thing at a time, okay? So one of the things I do now is to plan my day right down to the 15-minute block. So when I start every day, I'll sit down and I'll plan my day in tiny little blocks. And it might be that 5 blocks make up just writing, so that my brain and my mind stays in one type of task without me jumping from one thing to the next. You will have a huge advantage, I'm telling you this. A huge advantage. If you're looking for an advantage in life, train yourself to go against the grain of what your phone is training you to become, i.e. a scattered and possibly slightly soulless automaton. Get back into the real world. Use your phone as a tool as needed, of course, but dedicate, for example, communication time and messaging time to a specific block in your day, rather than to do it throughout the day and go completely crazy, as I've been prone to do. So take control, go against the grain, give yourself some space, and do one thing at a time. Don't let your phone train you to be a scattered nutter. On that note, I'll leave you guys to mull that over from my smartphone in London. Over and out.